Chicago, I'll show you the town. I love it. Bet your bottom dollar you lose the blues in Chicago. Chicago, the town that Billy Sunday couldn't shut down. On State Street, that great street, I just want to say they do things that they don't do on Broadway. Say, you'll have the time of your life. I saw a man, he danced with his wife in Chicago, Chicago, my hometown.
Good evening, I'm William Pace. Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. Tonight we have, my guest is Sybil Martin from the American Heart Association, and it's that time of year again for the annual ball. So, and here to tell us more is Sybil Martin.
Well, thank you, William, for having me with you this evening. Yes, we are going to celebrate our 24th annual Dayton Heart Ball.
24th?
Yes, we've been doing this for quite some time. It's a very exciting event. It's a very fun event, but it also is what we like to call a party with a purpose.
Party with a purpose. I love it. So what's going to be different this year from the past balls?
So this year we have a theme unlike one we've ever had before, and we change our themes annually to keep it fun and keep it exciting. And so this year our theme is Touchdowns for Heart.
Touchdown for the Hearts.
Oh,
okay.
Yes, absolutely. So with that, we're partnering with the NFL Alumni Association. So we have a couple of former bingo players that are coming down to spend time with us. So Jim Breach and Dave Fulcher will be with us on the 23rd of March. And he has a couple other of his friends that he's bringing with him, so we're really excited about that.
That's worth the ticket in itself, isn't it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So Jim and Dave were a part of the team that went to the Super Bowl those 2 years that the Bengals were in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's exciting. I know we have a lot of Bengals fans in the Dayton area.
Wonderful, wonderful, yes. So that should bring a big crowd in itself, too.
Well, we certainly hope so, but we certainly hope that our guests are coming because they want to support the mission. So the Heart Association is all about education, prevention, and treatment. We're very much into research as well. In fact, we do fund research here locally at Wright State University at the Boonshoff School of Medicine.
Wow.
We also work from an advocacy standpoint. So, you know, we go and we spend time with our legislative officials and we talk about those things that we think will benefit the health of the community. So the Heart Ball itself is a way to come together and celebrate all of that is happening. So, you know, we hope that people are coming to support the mission, because what that means at the end of the day is that we're positively impacting lives of others. So whether that's saving a life through treatment or saving a life through prevention, it all means that some loved one gets to spend more time with someone that's important to them.
And I bet over the years there's been many instances where memorable ones where the Heart Association has played a significant role in the lives of many families. Are there one particular that sticks out with you? Well,
we share stories also of pediatric cardiology patients as well. So those are children that are born with congenital heart defects. They haven't had the opportunity to make the decisions on whether or not they exercise. They came into the world with a congenital defect, and so they don't know life any other way. And so there was a young girl whose story we shared about 2 years ago. And I remember when I first met her, she was the tiniest thing, but she was very small for her age at that time. And part of that had to do with her heart condition and the way the blood was flowing into her body. And so about 4 years ago, she had a surgery that completely changed her life. She went from being this kid who was tired all the time, who slept a lot, who didn't play much, who maybe wasn't in a good mood most of the time. And now she is cheerleading, she is in Girl Scouts, she is swimming competitively. Her life has completely changed. And so when we look at that turnaround, you know, we give these children the opportunity to grow into adulthood. All of that is memorable, and you just want to do as much as you can.
you know, touching the lives of people, you know, not only the girl's life, but her family's life.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
But the difference that made in her folks, her parents' lives, you know, was significant, you know. And I always love a story, you know, of great people conquering things and overcoming things and coming out as a champion, you know. And, you know, that's very, you know, very touching and so forth. And you spoke earlier about education. That is the key, you know, educating people, you know, and many people don't understand that how obesity can be a problem with good health, heart health, you know. And personally, I can speak to, you know, I had been diagnosed with congestive heart failure, but, you know, I have a good story to tell, you know, because through losing 67 pounds, and diet and exercise and nutrition, I went in and the doctor said, "You've been healed of congestive heart failure." But had I not made those steps of losing 67 pounds, nutrition, and all of those things. So when you mentioned earlier about education, I really, in educating people that they cannot just continue to be overweight, and that they do have to take care of their hearts. They can have a splurge every now and then, and but they really do have to maintain their weight, because that plays a, you know, that tax the heart. When you're carrying X number of pounds, you know, your heart is only geared to, you know, for a certain weight, you see.
So here's the thing with that. So there are some things that you just cannot change. You can't change your age.
No.
You can't change your family history.
No.
You cannot change your gender, and, you know, you can't change those things, but you can have an effect on things in the way that you said. You know, how am I choosing to live out this lifestyle? Am I exercising? Am I eating the proper things? And I think sometimes people think that in order to be healthy, life must be so restrictive, and that's not necessarily the case. Now it takes some time and it takes some planning, and maybe that was your experience when you went through your journey, was that, you know, you said, hey, I have to make a conscious decision.
It really, yes.
But it doesn't mean that you can't have a piece of cake.
No, I have every now and then a slice.
But it doesn't mean that you can't ever have cake like ever again in life, and that everything.
You can't have it every day, and you can only have a slice. You can't have the whole cake. And
absolutely.
And I've learned the difference between what I used to think a helping of something was, and what a helping really is. A helping is not a plate of something. A helping is a portion of something. It's, for me, it was a huge education, you know, learning that.
And so that's something that also comes up, serving sizes, and, you know, how much of this should you have? So, you know, you're getting, if you look at your plate and you're looking at, you have a double serving size of macaroni and cheese, you know, and there's no vegetable in sight or whatever. Those things.
A well-balanced meal.
Well-balanced meal. Absolutely. Well-balanced meal definitely helps in aiding how your body works and how your body uses those nutrients that you give it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's more to come on the William Pace Show. Stay with us.
They do things that they don't do on Broadway. Say.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. My name is William Pace, and I'm back with my guest, Sybil Martin from the American Heart Association. Thank you so much for being here. Before we were talking about education and the importance of education. And so do you have education programs that people can come to there at the Heart Association? Or do you work with people in educating them on making better choices, nutritional choices that will ensure that their heart stays strong?
So from an educational standpoint, well, one, there are kind of two different areas in which we educate, but we also help to educate the physicians and other medical individuals within the community, you know, like EMS and things like that, so that when or if a person is in a situation, they are under proper care, right? So that's one thing of it. So think about that. When you're going to the doctor and you're having a heart incident or you're having a stroke, the education and some of the tools that they are using were brought to them by the American Heart Association. So things
Really? Say that again. So many of the physicians, the medical, the doctors, the American Heart Association is recommending certain information, procedures, and so forth?
So yeah, so we have something that we call scientific sessions where we get, you know, some of the brightest and top minds in the medical fields to come together for about like a 3-day conference, and they're talking all of this clinical new stuff, new ideas, new thoughts, and things like that. So we work very closely with the medical community. So you know, we have physicians that come and they tell about their research and they share, and new guidelines come out, like the new cholesterol guidelines that came out, new blood pressure guidelines and things that have come out. But yes, we help to work with those physicians to help them have the information on the latest and the greatest as well.
Okay. So a lot of the fundraisers that you do, the money that is generated from it goes to the American Heart Association for further research then, and help to people who are in need then.
Yes, so that's just part of it. So all the things that I mentioned earlier as far as the different advocacy things that we do, the prevention programs and all those things, those funds help to make sure that we are able to do all of that. Going back to the research, however, the reason that we try to gain as much as we can from our fundraisers and from our revenue sources is because that dictates how much research we can actually fund. You know, so there are, and it happens every year, that there are worthy and meritorious grants and things or requests that we have to turn down because we simply don't have enough money to fund it all. So that's why we get out here and we hit it hard, and we want to do the absolute best that we can do so that we can have the most impact for our community as a whole.
Wonderful. So now we're going to tell the people out at home that about the ball coming up and how they can become involved in it.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be this year. Give us the date.
On Saturday, March the 23rd.
Okay. And it includes a dinner.
Yes.
And is the menu out yet?
It kind of is, but you know, when the chef gets finished, there's some fancy names and things on there that, you know, from the different ways that he comes up with stuff. So I can't rattle off what everything is that's included with that.
So there's the meal, the dinner, and then there's going to be the auction. Now,
Yes.
I want to know about that. What are some of the items that you have that have been donated in the past years?
Okay.
Give us some ideas, because I'm sure people out there at home have all kinds of things, maybe that might be in their garage or in their attic or somewhere that is just sitting around, and who would like to give it to the Heart Association if it could raise some money.
Oh, yes, certainly. So we've had everything from a weekend use of a Mercedes to trips to Puerto Vallarta or Kiowa Island. We've had dinners for large groups of people at Fleming's. So we get an array of things. What we find that our guests really like are things that they can do with their family and things that they can do with their friends. We've had things like hot air balloon, just to kind of keep it exciting. You know.
So it could be almost anything. It could be like a service, you know, a certificate to a restaurant. Can it be like something, an item of some value or something?
Absolutely. We also have had jewelry in
Okay.
our auction as well.
Okay. And so anything that might be of interest to someone that someone would like to maybe buy or put a bid on or something like that. Is it more like a silent auction?
Well, we have a silent auction and we have a live auction, but we also have something that we call a bidder board.
What is that?
So the bidder board is actually a very fun component to our event, and it is where we literally have about 10 items that we put on a board. It's a visual board, and our guests have the opportunity to bid with the volunteers. And so once they place their bid is written up on the board next to the item that they've bid on, along with the amount of the bid. And so what that does is it makes it really visual, because as they're walking around the room, the next time they come around, they may see that their bidder number is no longer up there because someone's outbid them. And so that creates that
competition,
that competition and that fun-spirited rivalry there. And I'll tell you, we've had years where we literally have had bidding wars at that bidder board. So it's a lot of fun.
Wow. And every ball has to have a dance?
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the dance. Is it the old ballroom kind of dancing, or is it dances of many different kinds, or?
I would definitely say dances of many different kinds. We have a live band.
A live band?
We do, and our guests love our band. Oh, they stay and dance to the last song, and they have a really good time.
Wow.
So they definitely get their exercise in.
Okay, so that's an important part. That's an important part of maintaining health, a good heart, cardio, you have to have, that in there to maintain a good heart. And so it starts at what time do the doors open?
The event starts at 6. Our guests usually start arriving somewhere between 5:15 and about 5:30. So they'll be able to get in with no problem.
And it goes right on till?
About midnight.
Midnight. Wow. So that is going to be a fun evening. So for tickets, how do people get tickets? Tell us that.
Well, you can visit our website at DaytonHeartBall.heart.org, or you can call directly to 937-401-4866. We'd be happy to help you.
Okay. There's more to come on the William Pace Show, so stay with us.
They do things that they don't do on Broadway.
Thanks so much for tuning us in tonight. I'm William Pace, and my guest tonight is Sybil Martin from the American Heart Association. And we're talking about the annual ball that's coming up, and it's going to be this year at the Sinclair, at the Ponit Center. And we want to talk about some of the people who are helping to make this event possible. And I understand that the Kettering is involved in it. Kettering
Physician Network is our signature sponsor this year, and we definitely want to thank them for stepping up to the plate and taking this on. So thank you to Kettering Physician Network and George Lewis and his team over there. We also want to thank our chairperson, who is also the president of our board, Dr. Vijay Tivakaran. So we thank them so much. And to our Open Your Heart chair, Christy Gray, we thank you guys for stepping up and giving it your all to make this event and to make the mission successful.
It takes many people to put on something like this.
Oh, yeah.
And, so if there's someone out there listening tonight and you would like to be a part, be a donor or be a volunteer, to be a contributor in some way, the best way is to call the American Heart Association, the Miami Valley Division, and you can call them at 937-401-4866. That number again is 937-401-4866. Or I guess you could stop in there. They're open, and they're right there on Dorothy Lane at 1313 West Dorothy Lane, near Kettering Boulevard, I believe, back in there, not far from there. And so the one way that people can help out there is to sponsor a table. So
Yes.
tell me about that. They could bring like their whole family and someone else's. How many are in a table?
So we have a couple of table options. They can get a
Mm-hmm.
table for 8 guests, or they can get a table for 10 guests. So
Or
either
maybe
one,
they might need 2 tables.
that would be awesome. We can accommodate that as well.
Okay.
But we want people to do that as soon as possible because we are filling up, and
And they
we-
need to call right away at 937-401-4866.
Yes,
Or either they can email you, I guess,
they can.
at sybil.martin@heart.org. I love that part, the heart part, And one of the, there's a song, and I'm a singer too, but it talks about fairy tales can come true if you're young at heart. The song
Yes.
is called Young at Heart, and so we want everybody to, to be young and to be at
yes.
heart, Let me talk a little bit more about the number of people that will be coming. Will there be a number of families that are coming who have benefited from the Heart Association?
Yes, there will. So we always have families in the room who have benefited from the work of the American Heart Association. We also have people in the room who are local business and community leaders, local philanthropists, and those who volunteer and come out and help us. So we have a wide array of people who support this event, and we're very, very grateful for them, and we appreciate their support. And I also just want to say we want to thank also our committees who work all year long to make sure that this event goes off without a hitch, So we couldn't do it without any of them. And we say that and we hear it a lot, but it really is the truth. Our office here is small and our volunteers are mighty. So that's why we are able to do the work that we do. But I also want to touch back real quick and answer the other part of your question. You asked me about educational programs, and we kind of started talking about some of the physicians in education. But we do things like CPR education, for example. So we teach hands-only CPR as an educational component. So it's not necessarily the certification at this point, because that's something that takes 3 to 4 hours, and it has to be something that you're paying for. So with the free education piece of CPR, it's hands only. And so we go out into the community and we teach people to be prepared in the event that they have to resuscitate someone. And you'd be surprised at how many people admit that if they were in a situation like that, that they could not help anyone.
So if people want to know more about that service, that education on how to resuscitate someone, they can call or
Sure, they can give us a call. It's usually something that's done in groups, so it's not kind of like a one-on-one. So, it would be like if you had a group of people at your place of employment or, at your church, and you wanted to bring someone in to help share that information, we could actually do that.
That would be a big help, and I'm sure that many churches are in need of that. Not only churches, schools.
Yes.
On the job, wherever you work, you always want to be able to, because you don't know where it could happen.
Right.
You could be on the highway and there's an accident or something on the highway or on the street, and you may be the only person there until help can come. And so, you definitely want to, save someone's life if you possibly can.
It's a good piece of education to have in your tool belt, but that also represents a great sponsorship and community engagement opportunity for our local businesses, because what we like to do is to be able to send people home with our CPR Anytime kits. So when they go home with those kits, they can pull that kit out a year from now and just kind of refamiliarize themselves with the CPR process.
Yes, save a life. That is so important.
Yes, it is.
So we're almost out of time, but I really want to recap everything. Give us the exact date again for the annual ball.
So the 2019 Dayton Heart Ball will take place on Saturday, March the 23rd at 6 p.m. at the Sinclair Ponent Center. You can visit our website at daytonheartball.heart.org to find out more information and to also purchase tickets to tables or inquire about sponsorship.
And I heard too in there that volunteers play an important part. And is it too late for people to get involved, and if they want to participate and volunteer or help with any of the arrangements there at the Ponent Center, is it too late to do that?
Well, they can actually just go ahead and give us a call.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being here
Thank
today.
you.
I really have enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And I ask you to support this event. That's it for tonight. Gotta go. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
That great street, I just want to say, they do things that they don't do on Broadway. Say, you'll have the time of your life. I saw a man, he danced with his wife in Chicago, my home.